Hi, let's talk about two key ideas in developing students' number sense, helping them understand anchoring numbers, and also the idea of decomposition. What are anchoring numbers? Well, key early anchors are the numbers 5 and 10. What does that mean? We want kids to be able to relate other numbers to the numbers 5 and 10. So instead of thinking of 7 as simply a collection of 7 ones, they can think about how is 7 more than 5? Oh, it's 2 more than 5. Or how does it relate to 10? It's 2 less than 10. A really important model for kids to use a lot and get used to is the 10 frame. The most important model, a lot of people say. Here's a 10 frame, simply a 2x5 grid. And so we can do things with this like model the number 7 on it and ask students how many chips are there, and they can say, oh, there's 7. Or we can ask them, show me 7, and they can put 7 things out there. Note that when the students are just starting, if they've never used 10 frames before, it's good to start with a 5 frame, so just half of this model, and you can use smaller numbers and they can anchor on 5. You can get really valuable feedback looking at how students use 10 frames. So as you have them doing a lot of activities, doing things like showing you numbers on the 10 frame or figuring out numbers from the 10 frame, you can find out where their number sense is. You can see if they're counting all in order to model 7 or to figure out that that's 7. Other kids will be using 5 as an anchor. So if you say show me 7, they know they can just lay out 5 without even counting those and then go 6, 7. And so they've anchored 7 to 5. They know it's more than 5 and they can just count on from there. Or using 10 as an anchor. For example, they might say, well, I know 7 is 3 less than 10. So I'm going to fill everything up but leave 3 blank spaces. Finding out about how kids are using the 10 frame can give you insight into how they're using these anchors and where their number sense is. Why 5 and 10? Why do we pick those numbers? For several reasons. They have those models in front of them all the time with their hands. More importantly, we use a base 10 number system where groups of 10 are vitally important. Whenever we get to another group of 10, we group those things together and then restart our counting. And so the way we write symbols, their place value, the way our numbers work together, all based around 10, so it's important for them to develop 10 as this anchor. And it prepares them then for doing operations. Like if you're adding 5 and 7, if they can realize, oh, well, that's 5 and 2, I can find 12. They're using 5s as anchors, 10 as an anchor. Those are all important things for kids to be able to do. That hints a little bit at another idea that's vital for us, which is the idea of decomposition. Decomposition is breaking a single number into 2 or more parts. For example, 12 can be thought of as 8 and 4. Or we could think of 12 as 10 and 2. And so we can see that being able to understand where this 10 is as part of 12, very important. Or we could think of 12 as 4 and 4 and 4. And you can see this is starting to hint at the idea of multiplication or division. So decomposition, Resnick says, probably the major conceptual achievement of early school years. And so a very important idea for us. How do we help kids think about decomposition? We want to use activities that are focused on a single number. So you choose your number, number 6, and everything we're going to do is thinking about how can we decompose 6 into lots of things over and over again. Or 5. How many different ways can we decompose 5? So you stick with a single number throughout the whole activity and use multiple approaches. You can have kids model the decomposition with different colors. Here's 5, here's 5, except here we can see 5 is really 4 and 1. Here we see 5 is really 3 and 2. So we could build all the different ways we could model 5. We need to have kids writing these out as they learn these numerals. We can say, okay, how are we going to show that 5 is really 4 green counters and 1 orange? Well, it's 4 plus 1 is 5. Here's the way we write out 3 green counters and 2 green counters is 5. So having them write those things down is important. Also talking about that. Have them explain how many different ways can we make 5. And then combining these things, putting them together. Another key way to have kids think about decomposition is missing parts. You say, okay, kids, we have 5 things. If you see these 4 green things, how many are missing? And they have to think about that, and they start to think about how 5 is really made up of several parts. And that foreshadows subtraction, of course. So why is decomposition important? It helps them build the number sense. It prepares them again for the place value understanding and prepares them for operations.